like it raw.
Raw. Ooh, baby, I like it raw.
Ooh, baby, I like it raw.
Warning, his report is at times disturbing to watch.
It's a sound no parent likes to hear. A child screaming out of fear and possibly pain from the dentist chair. This cell phone video was secretly recorded by the boy's mother. Going to the dentist is a rite of passage of sorts, but what's alleged to have happened in this office at the hands of 78-year-old Dr. Howard Schneider was not a rite of passage. It is horrifying. For the past 3 weeks, there have been daily protests outside his Jacksonville, Florida practice. One parent so angry she attacked him outside his office. Schneider says he's done nothing wrong. The firestorm started after Brandy Motley wrote about the day she took her 6-year-old daughter Brielle to Dr. Schneider to have one tooth pulled. On the day of surgery in December 2014, Motley says she was not allowed to sit with her daughter.
The nurse suggested that it's best that kids act better when the parents aren't in the room. They said, we don't like parents back here for the procedures.
So Motley says she sat in the waiting room for 3 hours until the waiting turned to worrying.
Finally, the nurse came and got me and she said there had been an incident. She was hyperventilating. She had marks all over her and blood all over her.
Angry and unable to get a clear explanation of what happened, Motley says she and Brielle left to rush to an emergency room.
In the parking lot, she takes her gauze out and I noticed all her teeth were gone.
Motley says Dr. Schneider had pulled not one tooth, but 7.
What happened to all of her teeth?
According to Mom, Brielle says Dr. Schneider hit her and choked her, so Mom called police twice. And although department records indicate officers responded, and according to police logs, one wrote a report, Jacksonville Sheriff's Office tells CNN no report was written on this incident. Initially, no attorney would take her case.
So that's when I decided to put her pictures on my Facebook and tell everybody what happened.
Her story went viral, and soon other parents posted their children's pictures and claims of unwanted procedures and abuse at the hands of Dr. Howard Schneider.
I kept reading and reading until the name Dr. Howard, and I knew that was the same dentist.
Amanda Berry is deaf. Her 5-year-old son Dominic is blind in one eye. Berry says Dominic was referred to Dr. Schneider for a crown in March. The boy is part of a civil suit accusing Schneider of assault and battery. According to the complaint, 2 front teeth were removed for unknown reasons, and Dominic was terrified and told stories of the dentist choking him.
Did you cry out? Did you scream out?
Yes, I screamed from my mom.
That's what bothers me the most, because I'm deaf. I can't hear anything. And to know that my child was calling for me and my name and I couldn't help him, it makes me feel like lousy. It makes you feel lousy. Do you know I'm always here for you?
Until now, you're with me. Until the dentist department, the mean dentist department, we were apart, and I was feeling like sad because I wasn't with you.
Every time I look at her, she can't eat.
Brielle's family at one point was part of that same lawsuit, but has since withdrawn.
Absolutely.
They're now pursuing a medical malpractice suit represented by attorney John Phillips. Phillips says he also represents dozens of Dr. Schneider's former patients. Most of them rely on Medicaid for health insurance.
Medicaid paid him per tooth. So, can I cap a tooth twice? Yes. Can I then pull it? Yes. Can I then successfully obtain benefits for all 3? Absolutely.
And Dr. Schneider has made a fortune from Medicaid. State records show Schneider has received nearly $4 million in Medicaid reimbursements in just the last 5 years. Now, the Florida Attorney General's office has launched a criminal Medicaid fraud investigation, and the claims stretch back decades. A 1995 malpractice suit was settled out of court. It claimed Dr. Schneider unnecessarily placed 16 crowns in the mouth of a 3-year-old. The boy's family was paid $7,500 as part of the settlement agreement. A second malpractice suit was filed that year, but the documents from that case have been destroyed, and the outcome is unclear.
Somebody who is performing procedures that children don't need, pulling teeth that he knows should still be in the child's mouth. In some cases, we even have where many procedures were done except what they came in for.
Attorney Gus Saris represents Dominic, and he says dozens more of Dr. Schneider's former patients. This month, he filed the potential class action lawsuit against Schneider on behalf of these children, claiming patterns of abuse of his child patients. an accusation that CNN discovered has been made before. According to this 2013 police report, the mother of a 5-year-old patient was allowed to sit with her daughter during a procedure. The mother told police Schneider grabbed her daughter's face and slapped her face several times. The officer acknowledged a small scratch behind the victim's left ear. The alleged offense? Battery. Dr. Schneider denied touching the girl. He was not arrested. Instead, the officer referred the mother to the state attorney's office. Nurses who were in the room later denied that anything inappropriate happened. Prosecutors decided not to file charges because of an improbability of conviction at trial. CNN made no fewer than 5 calls to Dr. Schneider's office to arrange an interview. None was returned. We found him in the parking lot of his office.
What do you think about the allegations?
What do I think about them you don't want to hear?
No, sir, I do, because
they're not correct. They're not there. I want to be left alone, okay?
Despite the calls to police and the malpractice settlements and the fraud investigation, Dr. Schneider is free to practice. His license is clear. According to the Florida Board of Dentistry, he's not been disciplined by the state. And for these parents, that's unacceptable. They want more.
Go to jail.
They never work on any other kids again. He never do that again.
Why is this woman attacking the elderly gentleman? He's her daughter's dentist, and she's in a rage. But why? And why are these parents so upset that they're actually picketing his office? All their kids were patients of the same dentist, Dr. Schneider, and they're also furious. Look how many showed up for our interview, and one by one they told similar horror stories about what the dentist allegedly did to their kids.
My son started crying saying, "Daddy, can you get this man off of me? He's choking me."
Then there's little 6-year-old Brielle Motley. Just look at that beautiful smile. But that's before visiting Dr. Schneider in Jacksonville, Florida. Her mom says she brought Brielle in to have one tooth extracted. Look what happened.
When I got her to the car, she took her gauze out, and that's when I noticed all of her teeth on the top and the bottom were removed.
How many teeth were removed?
It was 8 altogether.
This story gets worse. If this is painful to watch, imagine the horror that 3-year-old boy experienced. His mother says she secretly shot this cell phone video as her 3-year-old son, Zion Christopher, underwent an agonizing dental procedure by Dr. Schneider. Incredibly, she says, without anesthesia. The 78-year-old dentist has the youngster strapped down from his head to his ankles with a device known as a papoose board. Parents say this is nothing but torture.
As disturbing as that video is, it may just be the tip of the iceberg. Now more than 50 families claim that Dr. Schneider abused their kids, and many of them would like to see the dentist behind bars.
Parents claim Schneider improperly used the papoose board instead of Novocaine. New Mexico dentist Dr. Michael Davis showed us one.
They are put in basically baby straitjackets. It is just unconscionable.
Sound incredible? It's the same story with other children.
We could hear him screaming from the waiting room. When they finally called me back, he was strapped on the papoose board all alone. There was no one in the room with him.
What did Dr. Schneider say to you, Dominic?
Don't tell my mom.
But you did tell your mother, didn't you?
Yes.
What did you tell your mom happened?
He choked me.
We tried to interview Dr. Schneider.
Did you abuse the children in your practice, sir?
Get out of here.
Did you tie children down in your practice and abuse them?
For now, all these kids are having to live without their teeth. Their beautiful smiles are only a memory now. No wonder these parents are fighting mad.
Last week, Dr. Schneider turned in his license to practice dentistry and shut down his office. He is now being investigated by the Jacksonville Sheriff for child abuse. Dr. Schneider denies any wrongdoing.
Dentist Howard Schneider has faced 2 weeks of protesters and patients calling for him to shut his doors. Now, a group of 4 have banded together to sue the pediatric dentist for abuse they say their children endured in the chair.
Yeah, those were definitely choke marks on his neck.
Sarah Phillips' son saw Schneider last month. In the lawsuit, she alleges he deviated from the treatment plan.
He removed 4 teeth from my son instead of 2, and decided instead of putting hooks to hold his partials in, he decided to go in and slice my son's gum line wide open, put some wiring mesh with no explanation at all.
Despite the protesters and open investigations, Schneider maintains he's done nothing wrong.
But when enough people come together and they all tell the same story, then certainly there's a lot more credence. And right now, a lot of people are coming forward.
Attorney Gus Saris says he's heard from former patients as old as 48. Saris says he's also spoken with JSO, the state attorney's Medicaid fraud unit, and the state health department.
We have many of these witnesses that have said that their children have been choked out. We have hand marks on the child's neck. We have bruises, we have lumps.
He says his clients want Schneider's practice closed and want restitution for corrective work they say was needed after their treatment from Schneider.